So I kind of dropped the ball on the Toyos, and I didn't realize it till this morning. I got a comment. Subscriber said, "Hey, I've been subscribed for 8 months, waiting on this update on the Toyo AT3s. What's up with that?" I went to looking because I could have swore I made a video talking about what happened with the Toyo AT3s, but I can't find it. So if I made a video, here's another one. If I didn't make a video, I apologize, and here's the update. I swapped from the BF Goodrich KL2s to the Toyo Open Country AT3s, and at low speeds they were okay. 45, 55, they were alright, but anything over 55, when you hit 60 miles an hour, there was a noticeable shake in the truck. But the day I got it, I drove it home. I took a load going to Florida, and I didn't really notice it until I left to go get that load. So I went up and I got hooked up, and I told the guy that I was running with, I said, "Man, something ain't right. There's something, this thing's shaking." And it wasn't horrible, but it was very noticeable. I go up and get the trailer and take it down to Florida, drop it off, and after I dropped that trailer off, it was pretty bad. And I went straight back to the tire shop where I bought the tires at, and they said, "Well, I don't understand how it happened, but one of the tires was bad out of balance." I said, "Well, okay, that's okay. You know, I mean, I understand stuff happens, you know." And it made sense to me that could have been it. So I had them balance them, drove it home. I ran it up to 75 on the way home, and it seemed okay, but they are all-terrain tires, so, you know, I expected a little. I didn't expect them to ride like street tires. So I get home, and then I take a load going to California. So I go up and get the load going to California, and by the time I got there to hook that load, they were already starting to shake again. It wasn't horrible, but it was getting more noticeable. And I told my buddy again, I said, there's something ain't right. But it was different because the tire that had the issue, they had moved it from the front to the back, so it felt completely different now. It wasn't in the steering wheel, it was just, you could feel it. So I drove it all the way out to San Marcos, California, if I remember correctly, and I made a video, like a RV transport video, about the trip going out there, and I think that's why I remember making a video, because I put it in that long video. I didn't do a specific update, so I'm pretty sure that's what happened, and I do apologize for that. But when I got out to California, by the time I got there with the trailer, it was bad. It was pretty bad. And when I unhooked the trailer and took the pressure off, took the weight off the truck, it was almost undrivable. I found a Les Schwab in Temecula, California, and had them do a road force balance on it, and they said there's one of the tires that's so bad out of round that we can't get it back into spec. You know, it's not out of balance, it's out of round, and there's nothing we can do for that. He said, if that was my tire, I would warranty it out. And he said there's another tire that is just, he says, it's not so much out of round, but it wobbles. He says it's out of, you know, where it moves side to side. It wasn't so much up and down, it was side to side. I'm like, well, is it a warped wheel? He said, you don't have a warped wheel. We checked them all. He said you could tell that it was starting to wear funny. These tires didn't have, you know, one trip to Indiana, Florida, back up, and then back out to California. And he's talking about it's got a wear pattern. And he said something's not right with that one, but I don't know what it is. He said it's right on, it's on the limit of being out of round. I said, well, all right, that's not going to work for what I pay for those tires, because I gave like $12.30 for the BF Goodrich KO2s, and I gave $15.50 for the Toyo AT3s. Now, when I say that, the cost of tires, if y'all noticed, have been going up, so they could have been going up together. I just knew that I had paid at that time. I knew I'd paid this much for the KO2s, and now the others were going to be higher. I wasn't really thinking about them going up at the same time. Anyway, I knew that I'd given more for them than I gave for my last set, and I was really super aggravated. That whole ride home, driving from California back to Tennessee, was, when I first left there, it wasn't bad. By the time I got halfway back, I had to stop at another place and have them checked just to make sure they was safe to drive home. And when I left Temecula, California, I was running 70 to 75, like through Arizona and all that stuff. And they weren't bad, but you could tell that they were shaking. But by the time I got halfway back, that it was so bad I couldn't drive at 60. Pulled into another place, had them look at them again to make sure that there wasn't anything coming apart, and the guy tells me that he thinks I got a broke belt, and he said he didn't think it'd do any good to balance them. He did pull them off and pull those two off and look at them that I told him about, and he said that it was out of balance. He did put those two, he didn't go through and balance all four. Anyway, put them back on the truck, no change, still shaking. Went on to the house and took them back to the tire shop, and when they checked them, he said, I don't know how we didn't see this, but yeah, the one's out of round, and the other one, he said, you got two out of round, and it looks like one of them has a broke belt. So they had 7,500 and some change miles on them when I took them off. I was highly disappointed in the Toyo AT3s myself. I'll never have another set. I know I had a bad experience, but in the few weeks that I had them in snow, I had them in mud, and to be honest, these Michelin street tires pull better than they did in my personal opinion. But I did have a bad experience with them all the way around, and I don't see me owning another set of Toyos. Now, I did have another friend, I put airbags on his truck in a video back a year and a half ago or so. He bought a set of the Toyo the AT3s before I did, and he loved them, but he never drives his truck. You know, it runs around town and stuff like that. He doesn't do any kind of long runs with it. Now, he called me one day and said he was having trouble out of his AT3s, and he said, well, one kept going flat, or getting low. It was losing air pressure, and then one morning he come out and it was flat. He jacked the truck up, took the tire off, took it to the tire shop where he bought them. When they broke the tire down, the sidewall had flakes. Flakes from the sidewall was laying inside the wheel, laying inside the tire. And they had to warranty that one out and replace it. And after my experience and his experience, which he still loves them, they replaced the one, and you know, he loves the way they look, and he says they ride okay for him and all that stuff. But for what I do, I need something that I know I can depend on, and I just don't feel like I get that with the Toyos. Even when I ran Toyos on the 18-wheeler, I was never really impressed with them. The only reason I went with the Toyos in the first place is, one, that's all my guy could get, and two, everyone I talked to loved them. So I don't see me owning another set of Toyos. There's too many other tires out there to get and then to go back to something you had a bad experience with. So I know a lot of you guys love the Toyos, and if they work for you, I'm happy that you like them, you know. But they absolutely did not work for me. Places that I was going in two-wheel drive with the BF Goodrich's on and these Michelins, I would literally have to lock it in four-wheel drive to go to the same places with the Toyos on. I just didn't feel like they had the traction. I can't tell you about the ride because it's not fair, because they did have issues, and you can get a defective set of tires in any tire, and I know that. But between the traction, driving in the rain, what I felt like wet traction, just the all-around tire, even if it would not have had to shake and they would have rode super smooth, I still wasn't impressed. I wouldn't have been as disappointed, but I still wouldn't have been as impressed. Just a bad experience for me, because old truck's getting old, getting a bunch of miles on it. I don't want anything on here that's shaking. I want it to ride smooth, because just like as we get older, we don't like to be shook around either. You know, I'm not trying to shake anything loose or break anything that cause premature wear on the truck or anything like that. So anyway, guys, I hate that I missed that I feel like I dropped the ball on that video. But I have been getting comments, people asking about it, and I'm thinking, well, they must have missed the video, when I didn't realize it was me that missed the video. I didn't put it out. So here is that video, the update and review on the Toyo AT3s. My personal, what I think about them. Like I say, I'm very disappointed and can't see why I would want to go back to another set of them. Anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.